everybody, how's it going? I'm coming to y'all with yet another acoustic guitar review, and I think this one will be the final one that I make until I get my hands on some new acoustics. That is the Blueridge BR-340, and this is a guitar with a lot of sentimental value for me. Before I get into this too much, I quickly need to say this will not be a shut up and play tone demonstration video. So if you're looking for a 30-second to 2-minute long video of someone just sitting down and playing this guitar, move along, you're not going to find it here. This will be a full-length review of me talking about anything and everything about this guitar, my personal connection to this specific instrument, and everything in between. So yeah, no shut up and play here. It is just a lot of talking. I, of course, will give a tone demo at some point in the video, but keep in mind it'll be reviewed through a cell phone, microphone, then compressed and uploaded to YouTube, where you'll probably be listening to it through your cell phone speakers, and you'll never really get a good idea of what any instrument properly sounds like that way. But I'll try my best. So yeah, let's talk about this. As always, I have my notes over here just so I don't forget anything. And looking at this, you may say, okay, that is not stock. And you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. The pick guard that is on here, I custom designed and had custom made just for this guitar. And I'll talk about the inspiration behind the choices made for it later. But other than that, and the sound hole pickup, which is a Seymour Duncan mag mic, everything on here is stock. So Blueridge is a company that's kind of really well known for making super high value instruments and really quality high value instruments as well. They're typically known for their Martin copies and for some of their Gibson copies. This, believe it or not, is actually just a copy of a Martin D18 with a lot of accoutrement, with a lot of really nice embellishments on it, because the BR-340 is, constructionally speaking, exactly the same as the BR-40. Okay, so if you're thinking about a Blueridge BR-40, this review will apply to that. It's essentially just the gospel version of that guitar. So you have the BR-40, the BR-140, and the BR-340. The 140 being the all-solid version, and the BR-40 and BR-340 being the solid top with the layered back and sides. I'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. So what sets this apart from a BR-40 is the sunburst finish and all of the religious accoutrement that accompanies it, which is why it's called the gospel model. And I'm not a particularly super religious person. However, this guitar was my dad's gigging acoustic guitar. He's had many over the years, but this is the last one he used before he stopped playing due to his hand shaking too bad to continue playing. And you know, he passed it on to me so that way it would continue to get the love and the play that it deserves. So in a lot of ways, it really is, you know, a family heirloom in the making, and a very special acoustic in that sense, since my father taught me how to play. And so inheriting his last gigging acoustic is kind of a big deal for me. This particular version was made in 2010, according to the serial number, and they sadly don't make the BR-340 anymore. They still make the BR-343, which is the triple O version of this, but they don't make the Dreadnought version currently. I did talk to Blueridge a little bit just to get some more information so I can confirm a few things. So big thanks to the people over at Blueridge for talking to me and you know, helping me to learn a little bit more about their company. Let's go over the specs. We have a solid Sitka spruce top, which, as I mentioned, has a beautiful sunburst finish. And we have layered mahogany back and sides. Now I say layered for a reason, because despite Blueridge themselves and many companies saying laminated, because a layered is a laminate construction, I heard rumors that Blueridge's laminate was like Taylor's layered system, where they take 3 pieces of the same species of wood and laminate them together, which is what constitutes a layered laminate. And I contacted Blueridge, and they confirmed, yes, every guitar of theirs which says laminate is in fact a layered construction. So it is 3 pieces of mahogany glued together for the back and the sides. So much like Taylor's construction or Breedlove's construction, which is really, really cool. And I think that they need to start advertising it that way, because honestly, people are familiar with the nomenclature of layered thanks to Taylor, and I think that they would sell even more instruments if they used that term instead of laminated, because while both are technically true, layered is, you know, more specific and definitely a better selling point. So yeah, solid Sitka spruce top, layered mahogany back and sides. Okay. The neck is Mahogany, and it is a 25.6-inch scale length, so a little bit different. Give you a view of that neck. By the way, just look at the back on that thing. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm a sucker for a sunburst. I really, really am. Fretboard is Rosewood, as is the bridge. You can see these beautiful Trinity inlay. I don't remember, are these actually mother of pearl? It doesn't say. I couldn't find any information if it's real mother of pearl or just perloid for those inlays. But, I mean, look at how beautiful that is. And then the headstock, we have the chalice with the cross. Maybe a bit overboard for some people, but I love this. And my dad actually wrote a song called Holy Spirit Comforts Me. And so having his old gospel model guitar and playing his gospel song on it is it just feels right, so I don't mind that. What else do we have to say about this? The nut and saddle are both made out of bone, which is a beautiful thing to see, and it is a 1 11/16 inch nut, so kind of a, you know, that more common narrower nut width. Plastic end pins, sadly you can't have it all. There was no built-in electronics on this guitar before, which is why he added the Duncan Mag mic, which outputs to a standard jack there. I will say, while the pickup does sound good, I'm not really a fan of these sound hole pickups on acoustics, and the main reason why is that they don't seem to pick up the wound strings very well, at least if you're using phosphor bronze. Maybe if I was using Martin Monell's or Diodario nickel bronze, something like that, maybe those nickel bass strings would pick up a lot better. You know what? I'll probably try some on this guitar in the future just to see. It would fit the, you know, kind of pre-war style of bracing that's on here. Anyways, this is meant to mimic a pre-war instrument vocally, but you know, with the current D'Addario XS 1152s I have on here, the wound strings don't pick up super well. That's not a fault of the guitar, it's a fault of the pickup, but I wanted to mention it. I would love to see like an LR back put on this thing maybe one day in the future. The pick guard that came on this was just a standard black pick guard, very standard kind of crescent shape, and it started peeling. And I took that as my great opportunity to pull it up, and it actually just peeled right off. I didn't have to use any heat, I just grabbed where it was peeling and pulled it up, and there was no residue at all left over, so it came off super clean. And I contacted an artist on eBay. I will leave in the description the link to his eBay store, okay? Because he made both this pickguard and the Mockingbird pickguard on my Framus Texan that I reviewed. And I told him exactly what I wanted. I said I want a dove shape, I want the magnolia flowers and magnolia leaves with a cardinal sitting in it. And I think he did a beautiful job, because this, to me, this pickguard is a work of freaking art. An absolute work of art. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous design. Of course, very Gibson-esque, which is what I was going for. Does this huge pickguard affect the tone? Judge for yourself. I have a video talking just about whether or not a pickguard affects tone or not, where I used this guitar as my example. So I'll also link that in the description down below for you to go check out and see if you think it makes a difference or not. That's ultimately going to be a personal opinion. Me, I haven't noticed a huge difference between even having this huge pickguard, this huge celluloid pickguard versus no pickguard. So that's been my experience. The tuning machines are 14-to-1 open gear Butterbean style tuning machines, and they are non-branded. I did contact Blueridge about this to see who made them, and yeah, they got back to me telling me it was Golden Gate that makes the tuners. So these are 14-to-1 Golden Gate open gear tuners. What I'll say, they hold tune really well, and they feel very good to use. They're smooth, there's no slipping, there's no grinding. So yeah, they serve the job extremely well. I have no need to replace these tuners. They do a great job. People get kind of caught up in having brand name everything, and I would love to make a video talking about my experience with different brands of tuners, maybe a tier ranking video, and let me know if you'd like to see that. But these work really well. I have no problem with them. I will quickly say that despite the fact that I have the D'Addario XS coated strings on here, somehow just the A string has kind of gone dead on me. And I don't know if they just forgot to coat this string properly, because everything else is still very lively, but the A is very, very dead. So whenever I hit a note on there, it sounds noticeably more muted than the rest, so keep that in mind when I do play this thing for you guys. Anything else? Oh yeah, made in China, like all Blueridges, with a street price of about 825 bucks. I haven't seen one come up for sale at all since I've owned this thing, so I don't know what the current value on it would be. But I would say probably don't exceed the original $825 street price, because once you do, you can really start getting into much nicer guitars. Just being honest, as far as tone and construction goes, because while I do think this sounds good and I do think it feels good, there's something about it that I can't quite put my finger on that kind of keeps the build quality from feeling as wonderful as certain other guitars. And I've noticed that with Blueridge as a whole. I'm not saying they're built bad. It's built really well. I actually think it plays really nicely. I think the fit and finish is really superb. But it's something I can't put my finger on. There's just something about it that tells me it's not a premium instrument. The same is true even for their all-solid, more expensive acoustics. I played a great many Blueridges, and even the most expensive Blueridges I felt that I played, they had that same feel. They were something that just noticeably kept them out of the range of being super high-end feeling guitars, while other companies like Eastman, also out of China, don't seem to have the same problem. So maybe that's just me, maybe that's just a weirdness with you know, me somehow, but I did want to note it because, you know, it may be something that you've personally also been wondering about. But no, the build quality on here is great. The action is superb. So yeah, let's have a look. Before I get into the tone, let's see if I forgot anything. Oh yeah, so it is a pre-war design. They modeled this on the pre-war Martin D18. So it has hand-carved, parabolic, forward-shifted X bracing. Sorry, hand-carved, parabolic, forward-shifted, scalloped X bracing. It's a lot to say about the bracing on this thing. What does that mean? It means it's going to do something different with the tone that I'm not about to get into, because honestly, if a different builder built it, it would, even if the same materials with the same bracing pattern, it would sound entirely different. And if I start talking about what all this supposedly does, what the spruce top and the mahogany sides and the bracing pattern and the shaping and styling of the bracing does, it can start to artificially color your perspective on what you think the guitar should sound like. So instead, how about I just scoot up and play the damn thing and let you determine what you think it sounds like. Hear that sustain. While I'm up here, give you a chance to have a look at that pickguard again, as well as that fingerboard and headstock. Isn't that beautiful? Up at the end there. By the way, the pick I'm playing with, dropped it, but I have an identical one waiting for me over here. The pick I'm playing with is an Alice 96mm pick. So let's see here. Let's do some finger style. I think it sounds great. Let's see, what else can I do for this thing? Yeah, I mean, I love the way this thing sounds and plays. I just think it's a great instrument. Alright, so I'll scoot back and get back to where I was. Yeah, I love this guitar. You know, it's not only is it a great heirloom, is it something great to remember my father by whenever he does pass away, but also it's just a great playing instrument. And I want to quickly talk about that pickguard decision. So I went with a Cardinal and a Magnolia for two reasons. My father is actually born and raised in Mississippi, and the magnolia is the state, state tree, the state flower, and so I thought it was only fitting to use a magnolia for that. Actually, I don't know if it's the state flower, but I believe it's the state tree, and of course it has flowers. So I went with magnolia. I would have gone with the state bird as well, but I already used the mockingbird on my Framus Texan, and so I decided to go with the cardinal because a cardinal has a kind of a significance of remembrance, and I always want to remember him after he passes on, and what better way than with his guitar and a symbol of remembrance. And so kind of a sentimental thing, I know, but it's the reason I went with what I went with. And I think the red of the bird's red color really complements the deep red sunburst that's on this thing. So this is one guitar that I'll never sell. I'll never get rid of it. It'll stay with me forever because it is just, something that means a lot to me. So, yeah. I hope you guys all have enjoyed my review. That's really all I had to say about it. If you're looking into buying one of these guitars or a BR-40, they're fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. It's a beautiful instrument that I'm really happy to own. So, hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Take care.